once you get busy, and of course, when you have multiple ventures, your time is not all your own. So it's at best 50-50. So you have the things that you're planning for, but then you have all the things that are going to come up. You have the things that are going to come up from customers. You have what's going to come up from your team, just in general, life, all those things are there. So you want to be prepared so you can still accomplish your goals while taking care of the unexpected.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to CEO Lounge. Yes. We're excited to be here today. Me and my co-host Jocelyn.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we are. What are we talking about today?
Balancing multiple ventures.
Okay, balancing multiple ventures. All right. I know a little something about that.
I hope so, right? And I know you do. That's why I was like, oh, this is going to be a good one. A lot of what we see is probably not sustainable.
Correct.
And so today we want to talk about balancing multiple ventures in a sustainable way.
Right.
Not just through theory, but through lived experience, which it would be your lived experience, because you know a little something about balancing multiple ventures.
I do.
And
Yeah.
we'll get into that.
Yep.
Because, just like a tiny overview of it. We'll get into more of that towards the end. But Derrick runs a digital marketing agency, a youth tech program,
Yes.
a sports brand podcast.
Yes.
We now have the CEO Lounge.
Yes, we do.
And I'm convinced there's other stuff he's probably hiding from me and from everybody else that he's like working in the background. He's like, well, I'm not telling you my secrets. So I'm convinced there's other things brewing there.
Yeah. I'm becoming a fishing expert with your husband.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna do
yes.
something. Yeah.
You're going to start fishing. Yeah. Or we're going to start taking photos with the fishing poles.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. That's right.
But here's the truth. That balancing multiple ventures isn't just about doing more. Balancing multiple companies, businesses, is not about just doing more, wanting to have a busy schedule.
Right.
But it's about doing the right things the right way.
Yes.
And so today we're going to break down how we juggle that and how do you juggle multiple businesses. But before we get into any theories, I want to start exactly with your calendar. Like I want to jump into, let's just get to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Let's get to like how we build that calendar. What does that look like? And then we'll dive into, more storytelling theories as we go on. But I want to dive into, what does your calendar look like? I'm sure a lot of people probably look at you like, how do you do it all? How do you manage it?
I've shown it a few times, and it's funny to get the reaction, when I show it, and then just all the colors and whatnot.
I was going to say, does it have all the colors?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The colors mean something to me. So, there's a method to the madness, so to
And then
speak.
also, so everybody stay tuned for the coming up episodes, because that beautiful full calendar, that busy calendar, right? That a lot of people love to show off their busy calendar,
right,
but a lot of times it's just a lot of noise.
Oh, yeah.
Yours is not, and that is why we're going to dive into it today. But let's talk about this calendar. First of all,
Okay.
you said before that if you're planning on a Monday, you're already behind.
Yeah.
And I want to ask that because a lot of times Monday is like the start of the work week.
Yep.
So Monday morning, a lot of people are creating their to-do lists. I'm a very big to-do list person.
Yes.
I love a calendar.
Right.
I love an agenda. And a lot of times Monday mornings, you wake up, you start planning for your week, you start to create your to-do list.
Yep.
But you say you're already behind if you're planning on a Monday.
Yeah.
So why is that?
If it's like 8 a.m. and you're planning on Monday, you're already behind, because you're just setting yourself up to be knocked down when the fire happens, or you get hit with that 8:15, 8:30 fire. Then what? Then what happens to all your beautiful, nice planning for the week? What happens? So either the weekend, or you can do it on Monday, but you need to get up at like 4:30, like early before. Yeah. So either one. So you can, if you want the peaceful weekend, cool, but you're going to have to you got to put the work in somewhere.
Yeah,
so.
like 8 a.m. starts. You're not planning. You need to be ready to go.
Yeah, you got to be ready
day.
to go.
So what does weekend planning actually look like for you?
Yeah, so for me, it's a matter of looking at what's ahead. Okay, what's already set. So what projects do I have launching that week? That's first and foremost, because we need to make sure all that's successful. So that's first. Then what other meetings are already on the calendar from 2-3 weeks ago, a month ago? What's already there? You're working around that.
Yeah.
And then who do I need to touch this week?
Yeah.
Right. There's that. Either this is both external and internal. So from a customer standpoint, all right, who is it that, haven't spoken with in about a month or so that I know, even though there's not a project going on, that I need to touch?
Yeah.
Who internally with my team?
Yeah.
Do I need to sit down, make sure that they're okay and good? All those things. That's where I'm starting.
Yeah.
Just to get all the meetings and everything set. And then from there, I'm looking at, okay, what future innovation time, what planning, what work time am I going to have to get tasks done? I'm just trying to get the calendar set. That's really the number one.
Yeah. And so we're going to dive deep into like specific days. So for anybody, if you're balancing multiple businesses, I think you're going to want to take notes on the planning, this specific planning, especially because I'm not going to say that I was a little offended. I
know.
But this is good stuff. This is why you, right? Yeah. I presented, just so everybody knows, a mock calendar. And Derrick said, "Oh, this is cute." And I said, "Ooh." But that's exactly what I needed to hear. I said, "Okay." I said, "Beautiful. So tell me, how would you arrange your week?" And he said, "I'll tell you how I'll arrange my week." And so we're going to go over how you would arrange your week. But again, I think that's so important because right in my mind, I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is the way that like I'm going to set it up. This is the way that like I'm going to be able to be the most productive, going to be able to get everything done." But you can fall into like a trap for yourself when you think that everything's going to go perfectly and that on this day you're only going to be doing this, on this day you're only going to be doing that. So we're going to go into your week, right? And this is a week that balances multiple ventures. This is a week that balances podcast, company, family, life, future endeavors, multiple podcasts, right? So this is a week that encompasses all of that in the way that you have throughout the years learned to set it up in a way that works for you.
Correct.
It's not chaos. So we're going to start with the weekly planning, which we kind of went into a little bit before. And we spoke about, so this is, you're doing on a Saturday or a Sunday, not a Monday. We're not planning on Monday. If you're planning on Monday, you're already behind. But speak to me a little bit how you kind of mentioned to me before that there are tasks that you schedule earlier on in the week. And tasks you schedule later on in the week. And some of them are more high energy, like they require more energy from you. And others require less energy, we could say. Speak to me a little bit about that.
So I try to, if possible, schedule the client, meetings. I try to schedule things that I don't want to do or I'm not looking forward to. I try to schedule all that stuff earlier in the week. I try to avoid, Mondays for a lot of that stuff because I'm building time in to manage whatever comes up, because that's the thing. Once you get busy, and of course, when you have multiple ventures, your time is not all your own. So it's at best 50-50. So you have the things that you're planning for, but then you have all the things that are going to come up. You have the things that are going to come up from customers. You have what's going to come up from your team, just in general, life, all those things are there. So you want to be prepared so you can still accomplish your goals while taking care of the unexpected, for sure. So that's how I'm addressing it. And I'm definitely trying to handle all the high energy tasks and, of course, like the things that I'm not looking forward to as much earlier. So then as I'm getting through my week, I'm feeling better and better as I go. Oh man, okay, I'm getting to Thursday. Okay, I'm getting to the fun stuff. Friday, fun stuff.
It's not like I can't wait for this week to be over.
No, you don't want.
If anything's like, it's getting better as the week goes on.
You want to feel getting better as you go. The worst thing, and again, sometimes you can't avoid it because there might be that big thing that's waiting for you on a Friday. But you want to avoid going through the week and still having all that, oh my goodness, I do not want to go into this, right? You want to try to avoid that if you can.
Okay, so the week's set. We've done our weekend planning. We have, time blocked to the best abilities that we can, because of course, like you said, anything can happen. You have to leave room for this to shift. But we're planning, we're being prepared. Our calendars is set. We've pointed out our major deliverables for the week, time blocks. So now we get to Monday. Monday, we have designated client relationship day.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
And he said on Monday is when you want to do those client check-ins.
Yes.
The
Yes.
follow-ups, the visibility, make sure that no client feels forgotten.
Absolutely.
So why do you intentionally start the week with clients?
I start the week with that because if you don't hit them, they're going to hit you. And that's one of the worst feelings is when you get that reach out from a client, right? And you truly were planning on reaching out to them. You were going to get to them Tuesday or a Monday afternoon, but dang it, you were the first thing on their mind, and they reach out to you for the status, and it's like, and then what's the thing you don't want to say? Oh man, I was just exactly. I was about to call you anyway. I was just about to reach out. Now, when you hear that from somebody, do you believe that? No. It may be true, but again, they don't believe that. So I'd like to punch first, kind of like Mike Tyson. He said, everybody has a plan until they get hit, right? So I'm trying to avoid getting hit. I'm trying to avoid that. So I'm trying to come in, all the people, especially the people that are notorious for bringing you issues, go ahead, hit them, knock that out. Okay, so then if something does come up, they already know you're on top of it because you're top of mind. They just saw you.
Yeah. I love that. And it reduces chaos throughout the week too.
It does reduce it.
Because even if there isn't anything that they wanted to speak with you about, the fact that you're reaching up, you're following up, and on Monday, you're taking care of that.
Absolutely.
Even if they don't see your message, if they're busy, they don't see your message that Monday, but if they're trying to reach out to you on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday, I feel like nothing feels better than for them to be like, oh, they already reached out to me.
Yeah,
and you're like, I got that taken care of.
That's the best thing. And this also goes from even not even being a CEO, just even if you're, working for a company, if you have that boss that you know they notoriously are going to reach out to you at some point on Monday, it's great to just be proactive, get ahead of it, and hit them, and that will impress them, and they'll know, okay, Jocelyn's on top of it. I don't have to worry.
I was going to say that from their point of view, what would you say it's like that feeling the client probably feels of like Monday, feeling seen, feeling updated, feeling, I
get nothing but explanation points when I'm reaching out to clients on Monday. And it's always like, oh, yes, great, thank you. Like I always get positive feedback from that.
And you could say it's probably, I don't want to say a higher energy task, but it might be because you're opening up for a conversation to start and for it to begin flowing. Correct. When you reach out, they could reach back out with questions, with, wanting more information. But I feel like it's also like a breath of fresh air, getting that done on a Monday.
It is. It is. It sets the tone, and then if they have to reach out for you to you for something later that day or Tuesday or Wednesday, it's a totally different tone if they have to reach out and you've already reached out versus if there's been no communication. Yeah, it's a totally different conversation.
Yeah, completely different conversation. So then Mondays, client relationship day.
Yep.
And again, that does not mean that is all you're doing on a Monday. But if there's like that one task and we're setting it up and we're trying to schedule our week to balance all these things, on Monday we're doing client relationship day.
And one other thing I want to note, and this is just the timeliness of your messages. And again, this is also important when you're, starting out or maybe somewhat of a smaller entity. Watch sending but so many updates on the weekend or really, really late at night. Because you may think, oh man, they're working all the time, but that can actually make you look small. Okay. So you want to be aware of that. I was always very aware of making sure that we had a Fortune presence from the office that we have to just everything, our branding, everything. So that's even from your communication. So again, sometimes it's okay to send something on the weekend or maybe late at night or odd hour, but try not to make that the norm because if that's the norm, they're going to think that's when you're working. Okay, why are they always only working on the weekends and late at night? Are they doing something else? Do they have another job? Are they moonlighting? You want to be aware of all that stuff when you're small.
And also boundaries, right? Right. Sometimes you have to send that message on the weekend or like a little bit later, or everybody has different ways of working. But there's also, you might send the wrong the wrong message that you are also available at all hours.
Great point. Yes, that is a great point.
And then if you don't respond,
absolutely,
it could lead to like,
that's a great
yeah.
point. Yeah. You don't want to set that tone, because especially if you're fortunate enough to work your business to where it is a Monday through Friday type of thing, and that's the type of business that we have, then yes, you want to protect that, and you don't want to get into the weekend communication if it's not necessary. Yeah. So great point.
Yeah, no, because I've definitely been there, and especially, and when you say like when you're smaller, when you're building something,
right,
you can feel like I need to be present at all times. I want them to see that I am always available, that I am their number one person, and that eventually definitely gets tiring.
It does.
Boundaries get crossed. And so, I think that's why, again, it's so good to be able to like look at your calendar and say, what works for me?
Right.
How can I actually make this work for me instead of feeling like I'm constantly trying to catch up?
Yep.
And so the best way to go about it, of course, it doesn't have to always be within these boundaries. Some things happen.
Right.
But the best way would be that Monday.
Yeah.
Create that Monday, schedule it out, block it out as your client relationship day. When you have all of that conversation, you will probably have conversation with them throughout the week, but the bulk of it should get done on this day. So you're not playing catch up, or you're not receiving random phone calls throughout the week or at night. Beautiful. So then we have our meeting days. Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
So internal meetings, external meetings, like team meetings, client meetings. We're doing that. We're trying to bulk that up Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah,
I try to batch my work as much as possible. Try to have a meeting day together. Try to batch my meetings together. Try to batch when I'm going to work. Batch that together, because it's hard when you go from a meeting to then doing some work to a meeting to something else. It's hard to get into that mindset. Even from tasks that you do from work, it's hard to shift from one type of work task to another type of work task. One is more creative, one is more strategic. So, you want to try to batch that stuff as much as possible. So I found that I like to try to, if possible, schedule my meetings for the most part on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So then I can have Wednesday as more of a planned work day. So that's overall how I try to do it.
Yeah. And I mean, that makes sense, because even let's say on a Tuesday, right? You have multiple meetings.
Right.
Because that is work. When you've had 3 back-to-back meetings, 4 back-to-back meetings, you leave and you feel like you've done an entire day's work.
Exhausted.
You're exhausted. It's,
yes.
It's a lot of work. And even if it's team meetings, client meetings, at the end of the day, you've been socializing, but like you've been talking or leading a meeting or presenting. It is a lot of work. So having a meeting and then having to jump into work can kind of feel like a little bit. So whether it is that, you are like, well, I'm balancing multiple things. You can put all those meetings together on those 2 days. Internal meetings, client meetings, partnership meetings. Try to bulk them up. Try to put all of them into 1 or 2 days, depending on how many you have. We're suggesting, based on what works best and what we've seen and what Derrick has shown us, Tuesdays and Thursdays. To leave those days for meetings, because on Wednesdays, like you mentioned, is that business work day. So that we're talking internal systems, operations, strategy within the business, within the one that's really truly like your main bread and butter. We're working on that. So what kind of work lives on that day?
So that's a great question. So I would say for me, it's evolved over the course of my just tenure. So before, when I was still doing some of the technical work, right? Some of it would be web development work. Some of it would be graphic design. And as we've grown and I've evolved and I've been able to grow and hire people in those roles, now it's become different. Now it's more proposals, reports, creating documents, going through our project management system, seeing where things are. So more of that type of stuff is more. So it's really mostly project management and future sales based is what the majority of those tasks are. And I also, and it's not just Wednesday too. What it also is I'd say Monday, the second half of Monday, and in other little pockets, I'll schedule work time. But I'll know, okay, with that work time, I'll get as much done as possible. But I also know the unforeseen may come in during that time as well. So it's spread out.
Yeah, no, I think that's beautiful that like you do schedule work time in other days, right? Of course. But like Wednesday, especially things that are non-negotiable, they have to get done. And you really do have to learn how to time block and how to schedule your days. Because you can't do it. If you try to do everything all at once, or if every single day you're trying to finish everything, you want to have today, I have a meeting today, then, because I mean, I have definitely fallen trap into finding days where I go, I have a meeting today, then I also have to get that project done, then I also have to make sure I reach out to this person, then it's draining.
It is.
And I've definitely fallen trap into days where I look at it and I go, I have a million things to get done today, but each thing is different. It's not like, oh, I have 4 meetings today. Or, oh, I have to contact 5 people today. Oh, I have, to get all my client work today. No, I've looked at days where I go, like, I have a meeting and I have to contact people and I have to get client work done and I have to do this. Exhausting. So I do not recommend it. I recommend following Derrick's strategy.
That's right. And so the way I approach that is I'm looking at it from a week standpoint. So all those things you mentioned, all things that still have to get done. So I'm looking at it from a week standpoint. Okay, break it down for the week. When you're doing your weekend planning, what are all the things I have to get done for this week? And then you break it down by the day. Okay, each day. Each day you should have a goal of what are the 1 to 3 things that I absolutely have to get done. No question about it. No matter what, I've got to get these things done. So then if you do that, then by the end of the week, those 15 things that you had to get done are going to get done because you're breaking it up into bite-sized chunks. So you have to do that.
And bulking them like tasks that are alike together.
Bulk them.
No, I love that. And then so now we're at Friday. So this is like the protected energy day, the fun days. This is like creative work, enjoyable work, vision building, things you want to do, not just things that you have to do. So why do you protect Fridays the most?
Yeah, because we're ending the week. I want to start to get into that creative future building space, right? I've gotten all the hard stuff out of the way. I'm about to go into the weekend. A lot of us, we have to balance family and all those things. So you want to go in a good space. You don't want to bring all the baggage, so to speak, into that, right? So I try to go in on end on a high note. And it's fun, right? That's the fun stuff. The beginning, you're planning, you're thinking about how much, money you're going to make, setting goals, all that. So I try to do those things on a Friday. A bonus item for Fridays, though, this is one bonus item, is if you are meeting somebody new, if you're meeting like a new client, right? And let's say it's a presentation or you're trying to get something new. Fridays are a great time to meet with people, especially Friday morning. That's a really good one because everyone's hair is down more, so to speak. And it's a much different tone when you're meeting with people on a Friday than it is on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's just a different vibe. So that's another thing that I try to do, to where if it's like a new, something new, somebody big, someone we're really trying to get to, that is, I found great success. Very, very rarely has, a meeting not gone the way that I wanted to on a Friday morning.
Oh, so wow. Love that. Yeah. No, because, everybody's always looking like, thank God it's Friday, right? There's a chain. Thank God real. It's Friday. And then the Monday blues. And work is work. And even when you're building something that you love and something that you're very excited about, sometimes like work is work and it's hard and draining, and you're so looking forward to that weekend. But like, I couldn't imagine starting on a Monday and already just desperately wishing for it to be, like for this week to be over. But when you really kind of spread out little things that are enjoyable that you can look forward to on that Friday, even like on a Thursday, things you can look forward to on that Thursday. You're wanting Friday to come, but you have something to look forward to. You have something that's kind of like still keeping you excited, still keeping you. So with this whole week, right, so Mondays we did client relationship day. And again, I just want to like specify, which we've said, this is not something that is, you cannot move it around. It's very, very, very flexible. But I have 1,000% been a victim to not knowing how to really schedule my days.
Yeah, me too.
And I have 100% been that person where there's just so many things going on, so many different responsibilities, so many different projects, so many different things, and I've found myself thinking on kind of scheduling my days. I found myself time blocking by hour, not by day. So instead of doing like one day is dedicated to this, I've done like from here to here, it's dedicated to this.
Okay.
But within the day. So I've tried to fit this entire blocking of responsibilities that we did for the week into every single day.
Yeah.
Right? So every day there would be client relationship time, business work time, future ventures time, meeting time. And you end the week so burned out.
Yeah.
So you end the day.
Yeah, end the day.
So completely burned out.
You're in so many different spaces.
Yes.
That's tough.
So instead of trying to still time block your day, if that, but instead of trying to create a time every day where let's create days.
Yeah.
So Monday, client relationship day. Tuesday, we bulk those meetings.
Yep.
Wednesday, you work on the business.
Yep.
Thursday, you bulk more meetings.
Yep.
Friday, you do more of the fun work, the enjoyable work, the future work, the working on those future ventures, on those side jobs, those side hustles that you're dreaming about. Friday.
Yep.
Within that week, of course, work is still sprinkled in every single day.
Absolutely.
But we're designating one day, the middle of the week, Wednesday, where that is full on business work day. So whatever that may look like for you, if it's just getting all of your client work on that done on that day, or whether it is, if you have a shop or something and I got to create all of my items that day. I have to build all of these pieces that day. Whatever it is, it's getting done on that day.
Absolutely.
Everybody's work day, depending on your business, on what you're building, looks different, but it's that day. And sprinkled throughout.
Right.
But I think this would work so much better for somebody balancing multiple things, multiple ventures, multiple projects, because boy, oh boy, have I. And I'm like crying and my husband's like, it's like, you're taking on too much. No, I don't know how to organize it.
Yeah.
And learning how to organize it's just key.
You have to be organized.
Okay, we have the week, we have the calendar, we have the days, we split them up. So now we're going to go into systems.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because a schedule only works if the systems actually work.
You better have a system.
Yeah, you better, because imagine having like all of your days set up and then now it's time to actually do the thing that you put on that day. It's like, wait, I don't have a plan for how to communicate with all of these clients, how to, communicate with my team.
Yes.
So we're going to go into the systems and tools that you kind of use on a day-to-day basis, on a weekly basis, that keep everything going. We're talking about calendar, so we're going to stick on that for a little bit. Do you use one master calendar or do you have separate ones?
I use one master calendar for the most part. It's hard when you have to go and look at another calendar for this, another calendar for that. You're meeting, Jocelyn, can you meet at 2:00? And then you're trying to fumble and look. So yeah, I use one master calendar for everything. It's way, way easier.
Yeah, 100%. I've started, I can't do the digital calendar. Like, I like it, like on the phone and like all the colors. I love looking at it and I do it.
Is that the big, did you bring the book?
I did bring it. I did bring it. Yeah, I have my calendar with me. But I have to use the agenda because what happens is with me too. So like I'm heavily involved with my parents' church. Okay. What I would say our church, because very involved. I'm sure. I have a whole my email there for all the work that needs to be done for that.
Okay.
Then I have my personal email. Okay. Then like business email, and then of course different emails. So then what I found is I'm not like, even though I work in the social media space, I'm a little technologically challenged with other things.
Okay. All right.
So I haven't found a way to like be able to link all of my digital calendars.
That would be a challenge. I get it.
So I have just gotten myself a big old agenda, and instead from all those calendars. I just like write it there.
Yeah.
Because if not,
I like that.
I will lose myself, and then I'll miss very important things. And I know there's a way to be able to link them all. I know that there's a way.
Yeah.
Somebody here.
There's a way.
But I haven't done it yet. So instead, but so important to keep everything in one place.
It's important.
Whatever
for it to
that
be in
one place
Whatever it
may
is.
be for you.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. So whether it's like a digital or a physical, one master calendar.
That's fine.
What tool do you use specifically?
Yeah, for calendar, Google.
Okay.
Yeah,
Google
I use Google Calendar. So I have many custom domains, you know, CEO Lounge, .net, pickandpros.com, TNT Creative Group, you know, all these different ventures. But I use the Google Business Suite for all of our calendars and everything. I trust Google. Never had a problem with it.
Yeah.
Price keeps going up every year or whatnot, but I've never had a problem with it, so I wouldn't deviate from that. Microsoft, you know, if I didn't use that, I would go Microsoft 365.
Okay.
But their stuff seems to be a little more clunky to me. Again, personal preference, but I would only probably trust one of those two.
Yeah. And you have, so everything goes on that. It's like linked to that calendar.
Yeah.
And color coded.
Yeah, color coded. And so and I color code based on what type of meeting it is. So I don't necessarily color code based on the venture. Okay. I color code based on I have green, dark green, or if it's a money making venture. So is this a client meeting? Is there money on the line? Right.
So you want to see a lot of green on that.
Yes. So I color code by that because that's my task. Is it an internal meeting? Right. Then that has a color. Is it a client meeting where money is based on either an existing retainer or something new or anything money based? Yeah. Okay, then it's a certain color. If it's new venture, maybe another color, just different things like that. But I color code based on the type of meeting, and that helps me then see, okay, all right, this is money based. Even if then when it comes to prioritizing, that also helps me, and even if I have moved things around and all that. So that's how I color code.
Love it. Yeah. All right, so then team communication. How do you keep everybody aligned without, having to constantly schedule meetings?
So for project management, I use Monday.com.
Okay.
Monday.com, I swear by it. Love that tool. It's the best. It took us many years to settle on that. I went through a bunch of different other tools, and just the way that I think, the way that I like to see things, Monday.com has been the best, not even close for us. And it's funny, I recently had one client that for whatever reason, I don't know why, we did not have them in Monday. And we had the client for a long time, but for whatever reason, they were still stuck in email land. And had an issue come up with that because of that. Yeah. And so quickly, put them into Monday.com, and now everything, we're not doing any emails. Monday.com will trigger email notifications, but everything is there. So you can see the entire history, the entire conversation, deliverables, everything. Yeah. So I use Monday. And
especially like now there's so many resources available. Yeah. And we're so blessed to live in a time where like we really have all these resources available. Yeah. It is kind of impossible to juggle all of this without something like that. Because for those who don't know, right, this is a platform, and there's many like it, but Monday.com, where everything kind of lives there. Yes. You can divide it by projects, by clients. Everybody who's working on this project can be part of this board. So you don't have to constantly be messaging, emailing, texting. If something gets done, you just click a button, working on it, done, or ready for Derrick, and Derrick will get a notification that it's ready for him. And then if it needs an edit, I'll receive a notification that it needs an edit, something like that. But it really is so critical. Like if you have something very small, it's only you or one person or two people, okay. But like when you're talking about not only a business that's growing, but multiple businesses, or multiple ideas or multiple projects, you have to find a tool that keeps everything moving without you having to constantly book a meeting for every communication.
If you didn't, it would be like when, back in the day when we were starting out, how you could just remember the meetings that you had and you didn't have to necessarily put it on the calendar. And then we all got to that point to where we got but so busy where it had to go in the calendar. Hey,
yeah,
it's the same thing with that, to where, if you're doing but so much, the only way you're going to be able to manage it all is if you're using some type of project management tool. There's Rike. WRIKE, I believe it is. There's tons. There's
a lot. There's one that I used to use. It's called Trello.
Yeah. I've used that
very
one before.
user friendly.
Use Trello.
So, and I think I would recommend that one. Is like if your team is a little smaller. If you have multiple things, I think it's just the amount of automations. Monday.com is great with the automation. But there's multiple options there. And even if you don't have right now, like, I don't have multiple companies, like it's the dream to do that, or I don't have, but you already need to start setting the foundations for what you're going to need when you get there. Because the same thing as with, if you're planning on a Monday, you're already late. It's the same thing. Like if you're planning once you already have these projects,
that's true.
You're late. You need to start planning way ahead of time, getting all of these things in order, thinking of a tool to be able to manage your projects, manage your team, manage. If you could recommend 2 tools, like there's so many out there. But you're like, okay, this is somebody who's they're growing their team. They're starting to have multiple people under them. They're thinking of expanding in other areas. Like 2 tools that you're like, these would help you stay organized.
2 tools I would say would be Monday.com for your project management. I would definitely use that for sure. Because I love the way you can color code and you can easily see where everything is by that. And I'm visual that way. So that's one. The other one would be HubSpot. I would use HubSpot. HubSpot is like an all-in-one marketing, sales, CRM. It does like everything for you. It also has some project management tools in there. I just love the way that Monday works, to where I just stick with that. But HubSpot will allow you to send your e-blasts, like newsletters. You can manage your contact lists. There's just so many, all those other things that you need to be doing from a communication standpoint. So if I only had 2, those are the 2 that I would have to use.
Beautiful. I need to take note of that, because not with tools. I used to be really bad, but like I'm definitely I fall victim to like marketing. Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm scrolling and I see something like a cute little thing, I'm buying it.
I'm with you.
I'm constantly buying any cute little thing I see, cute earrings, cute this, cute that. And so when I also started, I was getting bombarded with like all of these different tools, and they looked so cool and so shiny.
I was the same way.
Yeah, and all of these different things like project management, CRM, email management, all of this stuff. And there's so many tools out there. And when you're starting out, it can be very overwhelming.
It can be.
And also, economy-wise, you pay subscription to this one, you pay a subscription to this one, you pay, and then you don't very costly. You don't realize it until you're like, oh my gosh, I have 10 different subscriptions that they can all do the same thing. And it can be a little bit in the beginning, like, it can feel, I get it, that excitement to want to have these tools to help to make your life easier, and like everybody's using them. But once you really get to a point where you truly are managing all these things, you realize I don't need all of those tools.
You don't.
I need tried and true.
You don't need them all. And then you're also, if you're picking up every single little tool, then your team is having to adopt those. And that can be, cause frustration on their part, because then it's like, oh man, I've got to, pick up another tool. Slack is a great tool just for like messaging and whatnot. So that's one that we use from a communication standpoint of just like quick little updates and whatnot, instead of like, text messaging. So Slack is another one that we use, I want to mention too.
Beautiful. So we have our calendar. We have our tools. Just so everybody knows, we also will have a resource with this, and we'll dive into that a little bit at the end. But the reason why I'm asking you, how do you schedule your calendar? How do you spread out your days? What tools do you use? And I'm trying to just take all the knowledge and keep it here, is because you run multiple ventures. We named some of them in the beginning, but I want to dive a little bit. You know, we were going to go into a little into your story and why anybody listening to this is the man to take notes from if you're trying to run multiple ventures. Yeah. And I'll tell you why. We'll go a little bit deep into it. But first, TNT Creative Group. Right. That is the main, right?
Yeah, that's the bread and butter. That's what pays for everything. You know, keeps the lights on. Everything else is, you know, great and are maybe passion projects or giving back to the community or projects that will eventually be, you know, money making. But TNT is the foundation of it all, for sure.
And before we move on, I want to mention this real quick too, because when you are looking at what to prioritize in your week, we had mentioned that, and you had mentioned that, well, first of the business that brings you, that pays the bills.
Yes.
The business that pays the bills. Because sometimes when you have a business and you want to build something else, you can get so excited about this new shiny thing that you start to neglect the thing that is paying the bills. Yeah. So do not even, that's why schedule your days out. That Wednesday, whatever it is, make sure that the one that is paying the bills is getting taken care of. That's right. Even when all of these other exciting things are happening.
You got to keep the main thing. Yeah. You got to keep the main thing the main thing.
You got to do that.
And it's funny because, you know, with social media, the main thing that people see about me personally are all the other things. So a lot of people that I know that don't really know me, but just see whatever, they probably think I'm all over the place because that's what you're seeing. But trust me, 80 to 90% of my time is on TNT Creative Group. If it wasn't, then
you wouldn't see these other things.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. So that's just what is seen and what's put out there, you know, on social. But TNT is the main thing. And it's like at home in a marriage, right? So Mike, well, who do you have to keep number one?
Oh, you gotta keep.
Exactly. You got to keep the wife number one. So TNT is the wife.
Yes, you know? Love it.
Everything else, I don't know. There's a lot of analogies. We won't go to those analogies, but yeah, we're
gonna say friends. We're gonna say friends, family,
that's right.
coworkers. We almost got in trouble there for a second. But you know what we're saying.
That's right. That's right.
But out of TNT Creative Group, other things were born.
Right.
And one thing that I definitely want to know is that when we were speaking about this, one thing that was mentioned was the things that were born out of this. They didn't just come nilly-willy. It wasn't just random ideas.
They did not. Trust me, they did not.
They were already on your heart to kind of give back in these areas, probably before even TNT Creative Group was like officially founded and running. You already had a desire to serve in specific areas. Absolutely. And so TNT kind of gave you the opportunity to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So there was 3 things. And one with, I think one of them was Tweens in Tech, came out of that. Yep. Bowling for Autism came out of that. Also being able to give back to veterans.
Yeah.
And those were things that were already.
That was already, but before we did anything, before we had any clients or anything with TNT Creative Group, Michael Sims, who's in the audience here, we sat down and we said, okay, how do we want to be involved in the community? We want to be more than just a business that takes. We want to be able to give back. So we created these initiatives to be a part of the community, be visible. That was also a way for us to network, you know, and do all those types of things. So there was a method to our madness. So when we created Tweens in Technology, organization that helps kids learn tech, we've given away over 100 Chromebooks and done all these different things through Tweens in Technology. That was all through TNT. And it was part of our ecosystem. It tied together, you know, Bowling for Autism that we did for many years. That was a way to help put funds in classrooms that taught kids that had special needs. That was something that was, again, part of a lot of our clients were sponsors of that and helped us and were there at the, you know, events. So all these things. That's right. Yeah. We, you know, created it on a napkin, you know, in a diner, kind of wrote all this out. So that was all of it was very strategic and planned out with those specific ventures.
And I love it. So let's talk about Tweens Technology just as an example of this, because when we were talking about this, there was something that you mentioned that I found, okay, this is very, not just interesting, but I think helpful for somebody who says, okay, I have a business.
Right.
It's doing really well. There's all these other things that I've had in my heart for a while that I want to start either, creating or giving back. But so specifically with Tunes and Technology, there was kind of two different ideas behind it,
right.
or there would be like an after school program or something.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So with Twins and Technology, we started, there was a school that we adopted that was in the area, and we tested it out. We, after school for a week, we brought computers in, we were teaching the kids, how to code and do various things. And then we knew we wanted to grow it. But the initial thought was, hey, let's make this an after school program. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great, but we don't have the bandwidth to, after school every day, be teaching kids. That would be great, but we've got to run TNT Creative Group. So how can we keep this brand visible? How can we grow it and maybe one day have an after school program? But how can we keep it out now? We said, well, let's have a 1 week summer camp. Okay, that's much more streamlined. We can take a week to, away from the business and run this camp. And that's exactly what we did. And we did that. We just had our 10th one, wow. This past summer.
Beautiful. Thank
you. And, but now it's funny, we're in a pivot mode with that because now we're in a totally different state. And I'm like, okay, the camp is great, but now we're actually in the planning stages of the next chapter of Twins and Technology. So again, that was great. We did 10 summers. We're probably going to pivot away from the summer camp, and we're going to look at doing events on Saturdays for a couple of hours, sprinkled throughout the year. That gives us a little more touching than just, one time a year. So you're always looking, just with any entity, you're looking to evolve it to make sure that you're not left behind. You don't want to be Blockbuster Video. Yes. You want to be Netflix. Right?
You don't be Skype.
Right, exactly. You don't be Skype. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that is so important because that pivot that also happened in the beginning, where it's like, okay, this is a great initiative. This is something that gives back to the community. Right. A lot of people can be like, I have this thing in my heart and I want to do it. And there's a specific vision that I have for it. And I want to do it this way. If you had done an after school program, it probably would have not lasted the 10 years that you're celebrating now, the 10 summers. You needed to look at what is sustainable, what is within our bandwidth. It's not doing everything at once. It's doing the right things at the right time and the right way. When you want to do, so many of us have so many different ideas in our hearts, dreams, nobody's one dimensional. And you may be like, oh, I have a passion for this and I have a passion for this. But if you try to do it all at once and stacked up on top of each other, maybe you'll be able to say for a little bit, I have multiple things going on, but you probably won't be able to say it for long because it's not sustainable.
There's no way.
And so hearing that and the way that your mind works and seeing you go, okay, this is not sustainable. What is a way that we can do this?
Yes.
That we can, bring this dream alive, but in a sustainable way.
Absolutely.
And it worked because now 10 years, 10 summers, it's been able to function. It's been sustainable. It's worked around TNT Creative Group. It hasn't taken away. And that is so important when you're balancing, learning that balance, that what is sustainable, what isn't sustainable.
That's right.
How to manage it all. Okay, and then we have 2 podcasts.
Yep.
Right?
That's right. 2.
You have Pick and Pros.
That's right.
With your son Diego. And I know a lot of that's growing.
Yeah.
That is definitely gaining its momentum. How did that come about?
So that came about, that's a great story. And with this and CEO Lounge, you'll learn that, just because I have an idea, I don't act on it right away, possibly contrary to popular belief. So with Pick and Pros, that was something that I sat on for a year and a half. I was upstairs watching a game with my son Diego, and we were going back and forth like we always do when we watch games and talking trash and all that. And my wife came upstairs and said, "Man, you guys ought to do something with this. Like, y'all are sitting here arguing, going back and forth. It's somewhat funny." And I think people would really love to, see this. So I said verbatim, I was like, that sounds great. And I'm sure it would be great, but how am I going to find the time to do this? Right? I already had all this other stuff going on. And he was like 9, about 10-ish at the time. I sat on it for a while. And right before he turned 12, I I looked at him, but it was a little before that. But I looked at him and I said, okay, he is still young. You know, he's got the young and cute factor. There is a dynamic father-son. I think it would be cool. I said, if we're going to do it, we got to do it now.
Yeah.
Because if I try to do it later, it's going to lose that factor. And I was like, all right, well, maybe this will give us a chance to spend more time together, so that doesn't hurt. Let's just start by just putting something out once a week. We started in around this time of year. So we started in January when the NFL playoffs were taking place. And we're like, all right, we're just going to post something once a week, giving our take on games. And we'll say pilot stage, show officially launches in September. That was our spill, those first 9 months or so. And that's what we did. And we just were consistent about once a week, putting something out just from my phone. I would edit it, put it out. And then by that fall, we had gained a little bit of a following, gained some momentum. And that's when we coined, okay, we're officially launching, and have gone and have never looked back. And since then, actually, we've created a spinoff to where now he has his own thing focused on just the Carolina Panthers. So Panthers Pulse. Yeah, Panther Pulse. Yep.
So how did you schedule the building of this podcast? And now, especially that I feel like it's probably, I don't know if the work is more now than the building it, but how does that look around, the main business?
So with that, it was a lot around his school, what I had going on. And so we were batching time. So with a lot of the show, there were times to where we would film it on the way to school. In the car, I'd have the camera mounted in the car, and we would just like record all of our takes while going to school. Wow. And then there'd be one night, specifically a week, where I would edit it, and then we'd put it out. That was one lane. Then my wife didn't like the fact that camera was going and driving. You're looking at the camera. I'm like, I'm not looking at the camera. You can tell I'm just driving. All right. Then my mom had an issue with it too. So I said, all right. So then we said, well, the time, why don't we, and he was getting better. I was getting better. I said, I think we can do this live, actually. And we then for a long time, we did it live. So then that cut time, because I didn't have to edit it anymore. It was more of just coming up with the topics we knew we were going to talk about. We turn the camera on and go. So we've been, and we're still adjusting to the demand of making the show the best that it can be, but we're always cognizant of time. How do we do it? Like now with the studio stuff, we were coming in every week. Then we're like, okay, well, again, that's a lot of time. Why don't we come in once a month, film more evergreen content and, content that could have a longer shelf life, and let's film all of our content once a month. And that was the best. So we're constantly building and making it
pivoting and seeing what works and what doesn't, not being stuck on just this one thing. And then, so on top of that, now we have, of course, the CEO Lounge.
CEO Lounge. That's right.
So how did this come about?
Now, this one is interesting. This is one I had this idea for about 23 years at least, right? About 23 years. So when I was in my 20s, I had the name CEO Lounge, everything. But at that point, it was just similar to what it's a part of what the show will be now. Was I wanted to just profile different businesses. I wanted to sit down with other CEOs, other business leaders, and just interview them, do stories on them. This is before podcasts and all that. But again, it was an idea, bought the domain, did everything, but I knew I didn't have the time to do it at that time. So it wasn't until about 2 years ago where I said, okay, things are getting to where I think I can do this in another year or two. And so I went ahead and started getting the social media handles at that time. Podcasts are now a big thing. Now I've got all this knowledge from the last 20 something years. So I said, now that I'm doing CEO Lounge now is something to where I would like to give a lot of the things that I've learned. And then I'd like some of the shows to be where I'm sitting down with other, CEOs. So that was where it was then. So then at that point, we started to work on graphics. I reached out to Debbie, who's in the crowd here now. And I was talking to young people that I knew and just asking them, hey, what are things that you want to learn about? What are questions that you have? Because I would always get questions. People want to do lunch, want to do coffee. They had questions about how I started, TNT, how I did it and things that I faced. And I can't meet with everybody. So I was like, I think this will be a great focus for the show. So Debbie created a bunch of content, a bunch of topics. We sat here on the set. I didn't quite know what, was going to be. And we just went through topics and just started talking. But meanwhile, I already put the stake in the ground. So we were here this summer, I believe, or this spring, filming content, but I already put out CEO Lounge launches December 2025. I already put that stake in the ground to where I knew by then we'd have it figured out, know? And I reached out to you, did the same thing. You then created all these topics, started talking, and one thing led to another. And we organically got it to where by the time December came around, we were ready for that first show. But this was an idea 20 some years in the making. And then 2 years ago, I got serious about it and said, okay, in the next year or two, I'm going to do this. Yeah. And then 6 months ago, I set the exact month and said, this is when it's going to be. Yeah.
And that theme of, even with Pick and Pros, this was an idea that was presented years before it actually started.
Yes.
And you sat on it until the right time.
Yep.
With CEO Lounge, this was an idea you had for 23 years, and you sat on it until it was time.
Right.
But then when it was time, you put timelines for both.
Yep.
For both, you said launches this date.
Yep.
And even if we don't know specifically what it is, but I've already sat on it for years. So I know that by the time that I get to that finish line or that date, I'm gonna have it ready. But it's not just. It was not just a random whim. It was not just something that is trending. People are building these businesses and they're doing really well. Oh, maybe I'll add that also on to my catalog of businesses. Oh, so far right now I see that this is really trendy. People have been making a lot of money about doing this. So let me add that on too, because that's what I see happen a lot.
Yeah, that happens a ton.
Where everybody is showing that I'm making a lot of money doing this, a course for this, a course for this. So you're taking 3 different courses because you're trying to find one that lands, one that actually sticks, one that actually works. When the things that are sustainable and they're gonna really last.
Yes.
These are things that were already born within you, ideas that were already there, but it wasn't the right time. But something that comes from already within, like something that you already had a passion for. Yeah. It's gonna last. Yeah, it's gonna, stand the test of time because it wasn't just random. And so that is why it's so important to have these conversations and listen to somebody who's done it and successfully and see the trends of the waiting till the time is right. Don't just jump on it immediately. You have to. You have to wait.
I mean, people get, and we'll probably get them out on this, but a lot of times we see people that are, uber successful. They have all these different ventures, and you think, oh man, that's the way they made it. That's why they're so wealthy. They have all these things, and it's like, no, they've built one thing, they mastered it, they grew it. Then they got to the point to where a lot of these people, they're able to just put their name on stuff. So that's why they're playing in a whole nother ballpark. They aren't even doing half that stuff. These concepts are being brought to them that's already packaged to where they can just slip their name on it and it goes. Yeah. So it's not them doing the grunt work to create all these things. Yeah, there was
this main thing, and you have to take care of that main thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like said, TNT's the wife.
Yes.
Everybody else is friends, co-workers, acquaintances.
That's right. Buddies.
Buddies. Yeah, there we go. Buddies. Everything else is the buddies. Love it. But so everything we talked about today, it's not theory. It's not, this sounds pretty. It's lived experience. It's your lived experience. It's your example that you have given us of how to really balance multiple ventures. Anybody who's like, I have this desire in me. I have the spirit of an entrepreneur. I want to build something, but I know that I don't just want to build one thing. I have multiple dreams within me. It is possible.
It's possible.
100%. You are a living example of it. But there is a system that needs to be put in place.
Yes, absolutely.
There is a waiting period that needs to be had.
Yes.
There is strategy and planning that has to go before all of that.
That's right.
But if you're looking for a place to start, right? Because again, we have years and years and years of wisdom and experience that you've been giving us, which I'm so grateful for. But if you're looking for a place to start, everything we talked about in the beginning, there's going to be a resource.
That's right.
So the planning, the intentional days, the time blocking for your days. Again, we had that Monday, client relationship day, Tuesday, Thursday, the meeting days, Wednesday, work on your business day, Friday, more of that fun work day and those tools, we're going to have a resource for you, the CEO Weekly Operating System. It's going to be linked below in the comments.
Yes.
And it'll be ready for you to download so that you can, download that, be able to implement that into your own calendar, use the tools. There'll be recommendations for tools. If you're looking for a place to start, you're like, everything that you're saying is what I one day dreamed to be doing. But you got to start somewhere. Let's start with the calendar, organizing ourselves.
Yes.
I know. I'm implementing it. I'm implementing it in my life. So it'll be down in the comments. Do you have anything else you want to add on?
That's it. I think we're great. Yeah. Check out theceolounge.net to get all your resources, tools, and tips.
Beautiful. Yeah. So download it and start running your week like a CEO.
All right. I like that. Ooh, that's nice. Good, Jocelyn. All right. We'll see you next week. Take care.